Hey everybody, welcome to week 4 in my series for Genius Living Tools. So in this series, what we've been doing is talking about some of my favorite tools that I feel help us live a more genius life. And what is a genius life? But it's an ability to live in a place where you can access your highest potential through your creativity, through your intuition, through you being resourced and self-supported so that you're empowered to create the life that you want to live, not the one that you feel kind of stuck in living or that you feel like you've been handed. So in these tools, what's revolutionary about these tools is that most of them are inexpensive or you already have them. And the tool that I'm talking about this week is exactly like that, energy practices. So when I say that, that might sound ethereal or, woo-woo, but truly, if you think about it, everything is energy. The words we say have energy because you can feel it. You can hear someone speak and have maybe at a convention, we were just hearing people at the Republican and Democratic conventions, and you could hear some of these speakers and the power of their words and what they elicited in people that were listening. So you can listen to motivating people and there's an energy to the words they say. There's emotions that have energy, right? There's some emotions that lift us up and there's some emotions that drop us down. There's places in nature that have a certain amounts of energy. There's energy exchange between us when we interact with each other. So sometimes you can feel a good vibe between people and sometimes the vibe's not so good. And even if no words are exchanged, you can still feel it. Energy is truly the fundamental building blocks of our universe. And before things manifest in what we might see as energy or what might appear solid energy, energy originates in thoughts and ideas, right? So why do we want to play with energy practices? We want to play with energy practices because this allows us to be more what I call architects of your environment, architects of your life. Because if we're not architects, then we're just responding to what the environment wants to give us. So that's we're responding to what people do or not do for us, or we're responding to the energy that's already in the room or wherever we are. And when we're architects or creators of our energy, when we're able to truly be conscious of the energy we're emitting, the frequencies that we put out, then we can feel more empowered to start to create the type of environments that we want to be in and the type of life that we want to live. And that can just simply be by changing the mood we're in or changing the state in which we're looking at the situation. So this isn't just about like manifesting things, but it's more our experience of the life that we're living. So why do we want these tools? Because they actually help us shift our state. So I'm sure you've had times when you're in a state and you're like, wow, this is not helpful. Like maybe you're in conflict with someone or you're feeling really stressed or you just need an energy boost because maybe you've got a big project to do or you just want to feel grounded after travel. These practices can help you shift and create a state so that you can truly resource yourself in the moment. So that's kind of why I find these to be genius tools. And what's so awesome about energy practices is that you can do them anywhere. I was flying last night home from Hawaii and I was doing energy work to ground myself and to allow myself to prepare to be home and to be shifting time zones. And I could do all of this in the plane and no one had to be the wiser of it. We can do this when we're in the midst of a challenging conversation with people. We can do this when we're in front of our computer and maybe we're feeling stressed about something, or maybe we got an email that was that evoked something. We can immediately take back our energy. Instead of feeling our energy drain or dissipate, we can take it back. So these tools, these energy practices are super, super empowering for us. So that's why I think they're really important. And really what you're doing is just bringing consciousness and awareness to yourself, to the environment, and then you're allowing yourself to, in some ways, be like a magician in crafting the energy you want and shifting it, if at minimum, your own state, which is really the main thing that we can do. But we also can have impact on our environment. So let me see if there's anything else I want to say with that. So I'm going to talk through kind of how I use them and how I worked with them and clients. And then what I want to spend the most of the time doing is actually just practicing some of these with you and sharing some of these based on the type of state you might be in or what you want to cultivate. It's really, there's like an innumerable list of these tools. And for each of these states, I have so many that I use, but I'm just going to share with you my favorites. but how do I use them every day? So I use them to start my day because I want to go into my day in a certain type of energy, because I want to feel my best and I want to be conscious about the energy I'm emitting. So I start my day with energy routines. I use them when I feel off, or when I maybe feel that maybe something had been challenging, or maybe I feel sleepy, or maybe I just don't feel inspired. Sometimes I use energy routines to kind of get myself resourced again. I use them with other people and in environments I'm going to, especially if I know I'm going to be like at a busy airport, or I'm going to be traveling and I know that that can dysregulate me. I'll use energy practices. So I honestly use them all throughout the day, every day. There's probably not been a day recently that I haven't used them, because now they've just been integrated into my life. But many times I work with people and they've never used any of these, that they think they have, when really we probably have used them in some ways. We just may not be able to recognize them. Maybe some of the techniques that you've used, that you've heard before, are EFT or tapping. That's a routine that I use. If you've ever done yoga, yoga is a type of energy work. If you've ever done visualization, visualization is a way of concentrating energy. If you've ever done meditations or breath work, those are ways to manage your energy. So you've probably heard of some of these, and some of the ones I'll share are from the kundalini yoga practice or tradition. Some are that I've learned, that I've come up with, or that have been shared with me, or that nature has taught me, or that my spirit guides and team have shared with me. So I'm going to share with you the ones that I like. And when I'm with clients, generally whatever the client is working on, whatever goals they have or intentions, what I love about energy routines is that we can share them and then people can kind of make them their own. They're able to kind of take the parts they like, and we can fine tune them for people that maybe don't like to visualize. And so maybe it's less visualization, more physical, or maybe people that are really highly emotionally in tune, maybe the energy practices are more emotionally based. So the cool thing about them is I use them in many different ways for people to meet them wherever they are, so that we can find ones that work for you. All right, let's dive into the good stuff. The energy routine. So feel free, I want to say this, to pop in the chat and put any questions that you have, or if you have a certain state that you struggle with or that you want a practice for, feel free to request that, and I'm happy to add that into our queue tonight. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about maybe like the most foundational energy practice that I do. So because we are energy beings and we are constantly in new environments, and sometimes we're in environments that we're in all the time, but it has maybe certain effects on us. One of the most simple and effective practices is a grounding energy practice. So I use this one for a few different reasons. One, if I feel scattered. So let's say like I just feel all of it, like last night after coming home from a really long flight. I feel scattered, right? I don't feel as settled. My nervous system feels uneasy, and maybe I feel sleep deprived. I use this one if I feel stressed, or if I feel like I'm holding tension in my body, or really any type of dis-ease or misalignment. Truly, this is kind of like my go-to first step in any of the energy practices I do. Before I do anything else, I do this one. So if there's only one that you take away with tonight, I would say do this one. So let's talk about how we do it. I like to actually connect to like Mother Earth and the earth energy itself. If you want to use the imagery of a tree, I also like this. And if you can ever do this practice outside in nature, go outside, take your socks off or your shoes, and just step on the earth and actually feel the grass and the earth beneath your feet. This makes this practice way more powerful. Or sit next to a tree. But if that's not possible, and let's say you're driving or you're sitting in your office or you're on a plane, you can still do this practice. So what we do is we close our eyes and we presence, which means we try to call our awareness back to this moment. So much of our day, right, our awareness is like 20% in the past, like 30% in the future, multitasking between things, right? Our energy is all over the place. And we're truly our most powerful when we bring all of our energy to this moment and we're conscious of it. So in a grounding practice, we start with just presencing. So noticing how we feel, noticing where in the body we might feel disconnected to. let our mind come to this moment. And then for me, I want to connect to my feet or my legs, whatever's touching the earth. So if I'm in a chair, it could be what's touching my chair. If I'm standing like I am right now, I want to connect to my feet. And I might wiggle my toes and just put my awareness in my legs and my lower half. And then as I start breathing, I imagine that my feet are like roots of a tree going deep, 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 like sinking in the earth, really rooting me and feeling that earthy feeling of being connected and tethered to something steady. And so for the next few breaths, what I'll do is I'll imagine bringing up that steady rooted energy in through my whole body, and I'll just visualize it if I can, traveling up my spine all the way to the crown of my head, and on the exhale, a settling and a releasing. And so I might intentionalize to release tension or stress or any type of busyness in the mind. You can release anything, and the earth is more than happy to receive it and regenerate it, which means it just dissipates it or places it where it needs to be. But if that doesn't work for you, you can imagine like roots of a tree and just visualize yourself like roots of a tree getting deeper and then drawing nutrients up from the soil up through your trunk. And so it's really whatever works for you. If you're not a visual person, set the intention and just breathe. Just breathe and feel your body anchored into whatever you're standing on or sitting on. And then what I do is I just do it for cycles of breath, of inhale, bringing in steadiness. I imagine in support. I imagine like almost like being cradled. And then on the exhale, I just imagine myself just letting go. And even if I don't feel the tension in my body actually let go, I just say I'm willing to let the tension in my body release. I'm willing to let go of this worrisome thought, or I'm willing to let go of feeling this heaviness on my shoulders. I just say I'm willing, and I tell my body that, hey, you have permission to let this go. And sometimes that happens in the moment, and sometimes it happens later, but we just want to give ourselves permission not to hold energy, because we hold it sometimes subconsciously because we think that that will make us safer or that we're more in control. But when we realize it and when we feel it, it doesn't feel so good to hold energy and tension. And we're really not in any more control by holding on. So this is really a practice of trust, trusting that we're held, trusting that in each moment we are resourced. And it's also, for me, a practice of surrender, which for me is one of the most profound practices that I have on a daily level, is surrendering to the intelligence within our world that grows plants and animals and humans, that literally is the life force between us. And no matter your religious or spiritual preference, we can all witness there's a life force, right? All types of traditions have that, whether it's chi or prana or shakti, right? So Holy Spirit, whatever you want to call it. So just imagining that surrendering of what doesn't serve us to that, and a trust that the goodness can also always flow into us. So that's one of my favorite practices. And I might do it for like a minute. I might do it for 5 minutes. I just do it, and I just now allow my energy just to kind of settle. Along with this, what I like to do is really allow myself to say any energy that I've picked up for the people that I've been interacting with. I'm also willing to let that energy release and go back to them or the perfect place. And I'm calling back my energy that I might have within other people that I might have left. And this can be kind of felt as though like you're kind of ruminating on a conversation that already happened, or you feel like you're too entangled in a relationship or conversation. So you just, again, it's intention. It's really that that trust that you can call your energy back and that you can release that which doesn't serve you, and really holding on to other people's energy and really letting other people hold on to ours like just isn't really a good practice, because it generally doesn't feel good and it just confuses us for who we are. So that is one of my fundamental practices. And if you think about this on an elemental level, what we're doing is we're connecting to the earth element. And the earth element is all about the physical stuff. It's our bodies, it's nature, it's rocks, it's grass, it's trees, and just connecting to what that feels like. So as I do this, I might imagine like my favorite place in nature, which for me might be on a beach. And I might just imagining just laying on that beach and feeling that energy coming up, and then feeling that ease and relaxation coming down. So I'm spending a lot of time on this one because truly this is such an important practice. If there was only one that I could recommend, it really is this one, because so much of our day, again, we are so distracted and our energy is so fractionated. This really allows your energy to come back in, for you to remember how supported you are, and to remind us this offering of surrender as a practice. If you're a more physical person and you need a practice for stress relief and grounding, another one of my favorite is just to shake. It's literally to shake my body. If you've ever watched an animal that just got surprised, what do? They shake. It is literally an instinctual primal reflex that we have. So just like shaking my body after like a stressful event, like shaking the stress out, or after I feel like triggered or I feel like discombobulated, I find shaking really gets me back in my body. Another thing I do after I shake is I tap. And so I tap from my head, or I might start at my feet, and I just tap all of my body. I tap my face, I tap my chest, I check my back body all the way down. And what I like about tapping is it puts your awareness in your body. So instead of all the awareness always being in our mind, in the future, in the past, it's like we put the awareness in the here and the now. There's so much power when we stay in the now. And so this tapping and pressing upon our body just allows us to really just become present and to feel our bodies. And so if you ever struggle with feeling like dissociated from your body, or I can't connect to this part of our body, just that gentle tapping and touching of your body, or just holding your hand there, can bring that awareness. So favorite practice for stress, for grounding, for resetting, for clearing energy that you might have picked up. Honestly, it's a universal practice, and it's always my step one of any other practice that I do. So it's how I start every day. I do it multiple times of the day, especially if I notice I'm off, or I'm moving too fast, or I just want to come home to myself and check in. All right, that's practice number one. The second one I want to talk about is really this energy of how we are going about what it is we want to create in our day, in our lives. And so I call this pre-paving. And people really like this because oftentimes, like if, let's say I'm working with a client, or even with myself, I might be so tied up in this like worry of like what could happen, and trying to come up with, what should I do, and all these things. And instead of worrying about all the what ifs or going through all the logical things, what if we actually decided the energy that we wanted to experience, and we pre-paved it and like sent it there? So if you're going to an event, or let's say like for this, let's say that I'm about to do a speaking event, and I could be worried about what if I forget to say, or what if I speak too fast, or what if no one shows up, or all the things, right? I could go through that. And then that's the energy that I'm emitting, and my frequency and the words I say and what I'm going to put out will be in that energy. Instead, I could close my eyes and ask myself, how do I want to feel? How do I want to see myself when I speak? And so I might imagine myself. I might stand up and stand how I want to stand. I might practice and say a few things. I might just just kind of feel in my body. I want to feel confident. I want to feel excited and passionate. I want to feel connected to myself. I want to feel like I've got plenty of time. I want to feel inspired. And the more I say that and I kind of imagine and think about it, right, I'm already cultivating the energy. And then what I do is I just say, this is my intention for this speaking event. And I, in a sense, like offer it up as if like, come on out, energy. So I might just like do this, and I might just kind of send it out. So I kind of like push it out, or I might just offer it up through my hands. And I look at this as being pre-paving, like I'm literally deciding. And the more I stabilize that energy by being in that frequency, it's amazing how that tends to color the experience. And I tend to have that experience in that event, even if no one else does, right? And then really, that's the only person we can control. So I love pre-paving. I think that's a powerful energy practice. And you can do that with writing if you're more of a writer, like I want to feel. But what's really important is to get in the energy of it. So talking about the emotions, and whether it's talking about what you want to do or talking about why you love it. Like I absolutely love talking about these things because it's helped me so profoundly. And the thought of allowing it to help someone else, and that someone else would not struggle with the same things I did, it makes me so excited. So if I even talk about that, it doesn't matter that I'm talking about what's about to happen. I'm getting in the energy of it. And that's super powerful. It's such a great elixir to the pre-game stressing or, the worrying and all that. It just gives the mind something else to do. So I really love pre-paving. I love to do that in the morning for my day, to be like, hey, what kind of day do I want to have today? I love doing it before events, before I meet people. And I love doing it the night before I go to bed, and like, what kind of day what kind of sleep will I have? And in that same kind of vein with pre-paving, oftentimes we want to kind of set energy to be at a really high frequency or rate, right? We want to get our energy up, especially if we've been worried. Because if you look at like the emotional scale of energy, because they've done studies where they actually measure the frequency, the energetic resonance of certain energies, and emotional states like worry or stress, all these have a lower vibration, like lower frequencies, and the energy like inspiration and appreciation and gratitude, and some of those have higher states. So it's really important that if we want to start to see those types of experiences that elicit those emotions, that we know how to create them. And so for me, one of those favorite ways that I do that is to kind of cultivate some good energy, right? To really kind of shift my state from, if I'm in a worried state, or if I'm in a ruminative state or a depressive state, I want to boost my energy. Another way this might be helpful for you to think about is that, a lot of us rely on external stimulants like caffeine or energy drinks, or something else to get our energy up. And what I love about these practices is if you don't have time to go make a cup of coffee or to dose up on something, you can actually do an energy routine for this. And so I'll show you two of my favorite ones for that. One of them is a little funny looking, but I promise you, if you do it, it's pretty spectacular. Like, you will feel a shift in your energy. It might feel a little unusual because sometimes we're not used to kind of buzzing at this energy. But you take your arms out, and I have them out like this, palm spread, and I have them out like, at the letter Y. And I'm going to strike my side ribs and form a fist. So my arms are doing this. And then my breath is doing. So it's a forceful exhale through my nose. You can also do a shh if you like that. So it sounds like this. Shh, shh, shh. Or it sounds like. So I do this I like to do it in either 54 of these or 108, which are sacred numbers. And I do that with my eyes closed, and I'm just feeling the energy pulsing through me as I do this. I feel my solar plexus, which is the third chakra, which is the energy, what is really like the solar energy of our body. It's where we digest and where we have our creativity and our confidence and our ability to be ourselves. So this is kind of shaking up that energy. With the arms going out, we're opening through the heart space, so we're kind of like cultivating that expansiveness in our energy. If you don't want to count, set a timer, do a minute of this. If you can do 3 minutes, it's amazing. It's totally life-changing. I did this all the time for a while. And then sometimes I would just do the breath part of it, which if you've ever heard of breath of fire, it's a kundalini breath practice. It's a type of Bhastrika breath. And what's cool about breath of fire, to me, it's the most transformative breath practice that I've ever done. It is a transformative breath that really, truly, powerfully shifts energy. It helps us release old energy, pattern energy, stuck energy, and allows us to feel like, again, that conscious awareness of where our energy is, and it lights us up. So if you want to just do breath of fire, I like to say, imagine like you're shooing a fly with your nose. So it's an equal inhale and exhale with a more forceful exhale. Now, we'll say, because I teach yoga, that many people have a strong reaction to breath of fire, and I did too. I used to really not like it, and I would always skip it until I had to kind of learn this relationship with it. So try it for like a minute, and then maybe go to 2, and if you can do it for 3, it's powerful. When I do breath of fire, I either have my hands up, and I'll show you this, and I form thumbs facing in. This is a type of mudra that I like to do with it. It's called Ego Eradicator. Or you can just have your hands together or your hands down. You don't have to use a mudra. And it sounds like this. And my belly is pulsing with every one. So you're gonna get some good digestion. You're gonna get your digestive tract, which is good, right? Because when we're digesting our food, when our digestive tract is healthy, our energy we're assimilating energy, we're digesting our experiences, we're actually taking energy and we're letting it transform. It's not getting stuck and held. So if you're stuck in anything in your life, if you feel like you're kind of living in the past, you've got old emotions that don't want to move through, and it keeps you at that kind of lower vibrational state or emotional state, breath of fire is your best friend. I promise you. Try it for 7 days, try it for 30 days, do it every day. It is literally a life-changing, transformative practice. And if you want to do the Prana Shakti, that's a great energy boost. I do this all the time, like between meetings, if I say have like several calls, or let's say I had jet lag from last night and I needed a little boost, do a little Prana Shakti. So those two practices are very transformative for increasing your energy. You can also just imagine like connecting into the sun, because that's that solar, that's that fire energy, which is one of our elements of creativity, of positivity. So this is a great one too, is just imagining like laying in the sunshine and just soaking in the rays of the sunshine and letting it kind of burn away your worries, your fears, anything like that. So that is a practice to increase your energy, to boost optimism, to transform. I love it. Breath of Fire and Prana Shakti. Okay, let's talk about conflict, or let's talk about relationship kind of dynamics that happen, right? Because sometimes we have to work with people at work that, you know, maybe we don't always harmonize with. Maybe we're just really built differently and we tend to trigger each other. Maybe you have a personal relationship or a family relationship in which you're like, oof, this one. What I love about this is to do a figure 8 between me and the person. So if you think about figure 8, it's like the yin yang, the infinity sign, and it's very harmonizing. So I like to kind of maybe encircle me and the person and just kind of feel a figure 8 just harmonizing. And I make the intention that I want to feel harmony, that I want the conflict to be released, that I want there to be mutual understanding and perspective and respect. You can harmonize with a room. So let's say you feel like this room feels chaotic. Let's say, you know, you're having a meeting and it feels chaotic. Pick a park or a place in nature and form a figure 8 around that in the room and harmonize the room. You can harmonize yourself with a place in nature if you want a certain energy. So I just imagine in my imagination the figure 8s. I've actually drawn figure 8s on part of my body. So let's say I had like heartburn or I had heartbreak. I might draw a figure 8 around, it's hard to do this while I'm looking at the camera. I'll draw a figure 8 with my hand around my heart, or maybe I have a headache. Draw a figure 8 around your head. It's amazing, friends. You can do this for your children if you're a parent and they have an owie or they're not feeling well. You can use it for back pain. So this can be used for conflict. This can be used for pain. This can be used for any type of harmonization that you want. So, you know, what I love about this is, you know, like I was just talking with a client the other day, and we were talking about like this relationship dynamic that they have. And we were trying to, for a minute, work it out in like the 3D, which means like we're trying to work it out with strategy and like, okay, you say this and he'll say this and blah, blah, blah. And that's obviously effective. But another way you can work the issue is to do energy work with the issue. So we started to do figure 8s. We started to put our intention for what type of interaction that they wanted to have, what kind of energy that she wanted to bring to the situation, what kind of energy that she wanted to experience. And we started to feel that and to send that into future conversations and interactions. And it's amazing, friends, how that can shift, because when we shift, we can have an impact on the environment instead of kind of carrying forward the energy of the past. So I find that to be a really powerful practice. So again, you can do it physically, you can do it in your imagination, and you can do it with something in nature and yourself, between people. Play with it. I find that to be a really, really helpful tool. Okay, I'm gonna do one more with you. Maybe two. No, we're gonna do one. I want to talk about mudras. So mudras are a way to concentrate energy. And you probably have done them before, you know, prayer hands in yoga. when you have your hands on your hips. I mean, in some ways that's a mudra. We have different ways in which we stand or sit, crossing legs, crossing hands, and the way we hold our body emits a certain type of energy. So you've already heard of power poses, or ways we can invoke confidence, or ways we can invoke safety or protection. So there's a mudra that I really like for concentration and focus. And so it's this one, and you might have noticed yourself doing this when you're like really focusing on something. We might put our hands together. I believe this is called the Hakini mudra. And so what I love to do this one is when I'm feeling maybe like unaligned with a decision, or I'm not sure, or I just really want to feel clear and focused, and I want to like focus in on me, or in what's best for me, or what I truly want to connect to. I'll press my fingers together, I'll close my eyes, and I'll breathe up and down my spine. So whether I can visualize energy going up and down my spine through my hands, or I just put that intention, and I just focus the energy, and I just take nice deep breaths, and I focus on my intention, like, may I receive clarity, or I'm willing to receive clarity. I'm willing to make decisions that align with the higher good, or align with my higher good, or the higher good of all involved, which, truth be told, when you make decisions that align with your higher good, it is in the higher good of all involved, even if you don't understand how. So that is a really powerful mudra. I love that one, and I like to do it because it focuses. And you can even imagine like a gentle breeze, the element of air just kind of sweeping down and clearing away other people's energy, or distraction energy, or extraneous information that is not helpful. Like other people's opinions or obligations or things like that. So I absolutely love that practice. So I'm going to leave you with that one. I had a few more, but less is more. Truly, there is a whole world around you of energy practices, and you can even create your own. And I know that I ask my intuition all the time for practices. And if you didn't catch my video on intuition, I talk about how to connect your intuition. I hope you'll try one or two of these. I would love to hear from you and hear your questions or your comments or your experience with these, because these are truly, truly transformative practices. You can do these anywhere, anytime, and you really allow yourself to step into the architect of your reality, to actually shift your state and to emit the frequency that you want, that creates the environment and the energy that resonates with who you are. Thanks for joining me tonight. It's super fun to join you for this series. All of these videos are on my YouTube channel. So check out my website if you don't know my YouTube channel. And I hope to hear from you soon, friends. Blessings, and may you live your genius self life every day.